what have I done? Like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I pretend I am this adventure person when in reality, 8 hours in and I am really tired and I'm out of breath and I'm sweating and I am just regretting my life choices. Regretting. It's 5:30 in the morning, well, 5:22 to be exact, and we are about to set off for 3 days of hiking in Corcovado National Park. Now, this is the place with 2.5% of the world's biodiversity. The nature spotting, the wildlife spotting is supposed to be off the chart. I am so excited about this. I've got my zoom lens, I've got my camera. We're booked for 3 days of hiking, which is pretty much one of the longer hikes that you can spend in the park. I am ridiculously excited, but also ridiculously tired because it's 5:30. Let's talk about Corcovado National Park. Now, it's very rare that I build a whole trip around one particular experience, but that is exactly what I did here with my Costa Rica trip that I've just finished up. Now, why did I do that? Corcovado National Park is one of the most biodiverse places on the planet, with 2.5% of the world's biodiversity in 160 or so square miles. What does that mean? That means some incredible wildlife viewing opportunities that I was super excited to get involved with. I'm going to hop off here because this has been an incredible experience. I'm Juliana from the Discoveries of. Let's go and discover Corcovado National Park. Welcome to one of Costa Rica's most precious treasures, Corcovado National Park. Nestled on the Osa Peninsula, this ecological gem is a sanctuary of biodiversity, boasting a rich history and unparalleled natural beauty. The history of Corcovado dates back centuries, with indigenous tribes calling these lands home long before the arrival of Spanish explorers. It wasn't until 1975 that the Costa Rican government officially established Corcovado as a national park, recognising its significance as a haven for countless species of flora and fauna. It's early, but we're off. So we've left our main case in our hotel in Drake Bay. And we've got small cases, well, I'm not so small because I've got my camera stuff in it. But yeah, 3 days of hiking. Feels great actually, I'm really excited. It's very hot already, it's like 5:38 and it's boiling hot already, so I think this is going to be interesting anyway. So once we got started, so we got onto the boat, and although the front seat is the bumpiest, let me tell you guys, if you are up for it, you should go and grab the front seat because the views. You are sailing around the Osa Peninsula to Corcovado National Park at sunrise. And I have to be honest, the boat trip alone was just such a spectacular experience. It was just birds flocking over the water. And from there you go and register at the ranger station. And then it's really time to go set off into the forest. Now, the journey from the ranger station, it's actually like not a massive hike. But we saw so much wildlife. Like literally no sooner had we set off from the entrance area. Oh my God, we saw wildlife. Like we saw peccaries. I think like we saw a tapir within the first 10 minutes. It is crazy how that area around La Serena ranger station and that kind of region is just absolutely teeming with wildlife. So on that first day, we spent, I think it was about 3 hours hiking and really saw a ton of wildlife. And then we got to La Serena Ranger Station. La Serena Ranger Station, I mean, it's kind of functional, but it's actually kind of an adventure. I wasn't sure what to expect. And in reality, it's very functional. I think they have a maximum of 70 people who can stay there per night. The dorm rooms are absolutely massive. They're open air and have mosquito nets around them. It was just a ride to stay there. So when we got there, we basically dropped our stuff and then set off for the main hike of the day. And this was really where we saw the majority of the wildlife on that particular day. Throughout the course of the next 6 hours, we came back for lunch. We hiked around and basically saw, monkeys, butterflies, all under the watchful eye of our guide, Andre. Now, shout out to him, because I have to be honest, I do not know how the guides have such ridiculous eagle eyes, but it is because of those eagle eyes that we see loads of the wildlife. Once you've got your massive 600mm lens pointed up to a tree, of course you can see the anteater. Of course you can see, the howler monkeys are actually pretty hard to miss because of the noise. But of course you can see a sloth. But how do you see that from the ground? So he would just be out in front, making sure that the path was safe, because there are quite a few venomous snakes in the area, and also looking up into the canopy, looking around just to see what wildlife he can spy and show us. And we just saw so much. I mean, I can't say enough how much I was blown away by that first day. I think anytime you book a wildlife experience or a wildlife focused thing, Mother Nature is Mother Nature. Sometimes you see stuff, sometimes you don't. That day was just packed. It was like bam, bam, bam. Every moment I was trying to point my camera here, there, everywhere. It really didn't disappoint. And I would definitely say that if you want the true wildlife focused experience, then really focusing your trip around La Serena is what you want to be doing. Day two is where it really got hard and wild. Okay, so day two, we spent the night in Serena Ranger Station. I mean, it's a lot of people sleeping in one room, and it was boiling hot. And let me tell you, that alone was a ride, because it's a 50-person dorm. There are going to be people in there who snore. It surprises me how many people seem to rock up to dorm rooms with no earplugs, like total newbies, and then get really annoyed when it's not peaceful and silent. So let me just say this right now. Bring your earplugs, or bring some headphones. At some point, someone around us was snoring, and it was all in bunk beds. And someone just decided that they were so annoyed with this snoring, and this is literally at 2 a.m, that they started just banging everyone's bunk beds. But I was already awake, but this dude just started banging bunk beds. So absolutely just bring your headphones and just chill out. It is always going to be noisy in a large dorm room. Please don't act surprised and start crying about it at 2 a.m. I feel like the funniest part of last night as well was, number one, there was a mosquito trapped inside of my net, which is its own special kind of hell. And there was a rattling near me. I was like, is it a rattlesnake? Just put in my headphones and go back to sleep, because if it is, I'm already dead. And this morning we got up for a hike at 4:30. We left at 5. Quite an early start again. It was really cool, walking through the rainforest in the dark. It was just a completely different experience. Didn't see a ton this morning, but I mean, after yesterday, where we just such an abundance of wildlife that it's literally unbelievable. Wasn't too disappointed. It was nice to see the dawn by the river. So yeah, today is a lot of hiking apparently. Some of it uphill. Can't say I'm that excited about the uphill. Sweaty. It's I think it's 6:30 at the moment. Warranting it's probably about 22 degrees, and I think it's going to get over and above 30. High humidity. I think this is going to be a total walk in the park. After breakfast and a short break, we went back into the rainforest, and this is really where we saw one of my favourite wildlife sightings, which was a really small but beautiful hummingbird. The story behind these photos is pretty cool. So Andre had been hiking in front of us, and he had obviously heard the call of the hummingbird, and they're really, really small, and we are in primary rainforest at this point, so your trees are massive because they're so old, and so it's really like finding a needle in a haystack, but not so for our guide. So what did he do? He whipped out his phone with a hummingbird call, and apparently hummingbirds are aggressively territorial, and so I'm just gonna they're very small, so of course they're very aggressive. You know, you can say the same about lots of species, including men. He whipped out his phone and started playing this hummingbird call in the hope that the hummingbird would come to protect its territory. And that is exactly what he did. So we spent, honestly, about 15 minutes moving very slowly and very carefully to different parts of this particular section of forest, basically luring the hummingbird into the area so that we could get a better look. And it really just paid off. You feel like this whole experience is just like going and seeing stuff, but actually it is this interaction and the guide just knowing the nature of that particular species and what he could do to help us like get a closer look. And this is all before lunchtime. You come back for lunch and then you head off on the boat for the next section of the hike. Now, if I was excited to be sitting at the front of the boat on the first boat journey over to the entrance of La Serena, I can't say I was as excited to be on there the second time when we were going from Serena to San Pedrillo Ranger Station. This is the second ranger station, one of the other ranger stations in the park, and you can either hike, it's a very long hike, which is a beach hike, or as Sukiya Travels organised on this particular trip, you can get a boat from one ranger station to the other. We got to San Pedrillo Ranger Station, washed our feet, wrapped on our boots. There were actually some crocodiles right in the river mouth there, so yeah, that was I was really thinking about the fact that I just hopped out the boat meters away from where the crocodiles were, and then there were signs all over the beach saying there were crocodiles in the water, so you know, that was fine. Then we set off from San Pedrillo to Green Paradise, our accommodation for the night. Now, I am not gonna lie, this is the point where I really struggled on this hike. I think if I were to summarize this hike, it would be in 3 words, 3 H's: heat, humidity, and hills. And I don't know about you, but that was not my favorite combination of things. It was an incredible experience. I think it took us from around 2 o'clock to around 5:30 to do the hike. So it's not particularly long. But bearing in mind that I got up at 4:30, that we'd already hiked a lot in La Serena in the morning, this was quite a hard hike. And let me tell you, when I say I was sweating, oh my God, guys, I was sweating so much. So much. It was ridiculous. That I would say for this is if you are not massively steady on your feet, bring a hiking pole. I had a hiking pole with me, and actually it made the world of difference because there were some really steep descents and some steep ascents, and it's muddy and it can be quite slippy. I have an absolutely banging pair of hiking boots, which also made a massive difference because it meant I could just have faith in where I was putting my feet. But this is really the point where I was just like, what have I done? Like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I pretend I am this adventure person when in reality, you know, 8 hours in and I am really tired and I'm out of breath and I'm sweating and I am just regretting my life choices, regretting. Of course, the moment we got to the ranger station in the evening, I was like, oh my God, what an experience. I mean, it's amazing. Yep. Those memories just like flood out because you know you have to put on your hiking boots the next day and it's all about self-preservation. But there were moments during the hike where I really questioned my sanity, and I'm just not going to lie to you about that. Green Paradise is stunning. It's really beautiful. It's much smaller than La Serena, and the accommodation, rather than being in big 50-person dorms, is in much smaller dorms of 6 people. I mean, it was still hot, it was still noisy, and I did wake up with bites all over my face, even though I swear that I tied my mosquito net with killer precision. Day 3. So you kick off the day at Green Paradise and then basically hike your way out of the park. 3rd day of hiking. Now, it's our last day of hiking in Corcovado National Park, and it has been stunning. Yesterday was quite difficult, 30 degrees. We hiked 22 kilometres, a lot of hills, a lot of climbing, but I mean, the views and the payout has been absolutely spectacular. And yeah, I think I'll be sad to see this go, but also I would be lying if I said I wasn't looking forward to a very hot shower and a very cosy bed. I saw a bit more wildlife, but this was not a day for tons of wildlife. It was more a day that was about just like hiking through, again, the primary rainforest, down towards the river. We went to a waterfall, which was a bit of a diversion. I would definitely recommend doing that. We were given the option about whether we wanted to. Well, isn't this quite the adventure? We are coming towards the end, I think, of the hike, but finish it off with a bit of a wade through the water. It's been quite deep in parts, actually. And then we went to a waterfall where you could just hop into the pool, which was really nice. Unfortunately, I don't have photos of that bit because I decided to very smartly leave my phone out of it. But yeah, it's just been great. It's really delightful. God, hiking through the water at the moment, it's just so refreshing, actually, after 3 days of being really hot and sweaty and just hot and sweaty. It's actually quite nice to like just be knee deep in cool, chill water with the sounds of the jungle surrounding you. This is like actually a delight. And then you hike out of the park. We are done. Oh, I'm super tired. I'm so ready for lunch. But yeah, what an epic last day. Really cool. And that is your Corcovado National Park hike. Now, how did I feel about the experience in total? I thought it was amazing. I'm really not gonna lie. Like, there were points that I thought were quite tough. It was billed as a moderate hike, and I don't think that's unreasonable, but it's just very hard to know how you're gonna deal with the heat and the humidity on top of, you know, what is quite a long day, particularly on day 2. But with the wildlife sighting and the opportunity to just hike in the primary rainforest and such an incredible setting, it's just a yes from me, and I think it should be a yes from you. I'll be making more videos from my Costa Rica trip. We spent time in Drake Bay, in Manuel Antonio, and I'm going to be making videos about the rest of my Costa Rica experience, so don't forget to subscribe. I'm Juliana from The Discoveries Of. Follow for practical tips, advice, and immersive experiences.